Hey guys, so I'm back. Just finished. Well, not just, but I've read the Last Children of Tokyo. Like last week. I've had it around. I just haven't had time for this. But now I do. So yeah. It's okay. It's very small. But it took me a while to get through it. I'm not a fast reader, but I'm not a slow reader. It takes me, the last book I reviewed, Dead Silence, took me, about maybe 5 hours all up to read it. This one took me about the same. That's mainly because the way it's written. It's very interesting. It's no chapters, which I don't know. I haven't really read a book. I don't even know if this is technically a novel. Maybe it's a novella. I don't know. I'm not a big artsy fartsy guy. Anyway, there's no chapters, but there's also barely any breaks in the narrative. It's very much a flow of consciousness in a sense where the only breaks at all are more time skips than anything else. And these time skips could be anything between a day or a decade. So it's quite interesting in that sense. But you'll have just complete pages of text like that, where you start the page following one character, and then halfway through the page, it transitions to a different character at a different point of time, and the only way you can differentiate that it's now a new character, you're now following a new character, is either pronoun changes or context clues. Like suddenly, an old guy starts being described as a young woman. Like, oh, okay, new character now. Cool, sweet. Who's this lady we're following? um, fuck. Is this even focus? No, fucking no clue. Anyway, but yeah. Anyway, for a little plot synopsis, I can actually read it straight off here from other than memory from the other episode. But anyway, Yoshiro thinks he might never die. 100 years old and counting, he is one of Japan's many old elderly. Men and women who remember a time before air and sea were poisoned, before terrible catastrophe prompted Japan to shut itself off from the rest of the world. Yoshiro may live for decades yet, but he knows his beloved great-grandson, born frail and prone to sickness, might not survive to adulthood. Day after day, it takes all of Yoshiro's ingenuity to keep Mume alive. As hopes for Japan's youngest generation fade, a secretive organization embarks on an audacious plan to find a cure. Might Yoshiro's great-grandson be the key to saving the last children of Tokyo? That sounds pretty interesting, right? Sounds cool. Forget the last part of that synopsis. It barely exists in this book. Is there a secret society or a secret organization that's trying to find a cure? There's a secret organization in the last 30 pages. Does Mume help find the cure? No. Fucking not at all. That little frail dickhead, he dies. Fucking spoilers. Oh, I shouldn't have said so. Spoiler warning, he dies at the end, presumably. That's how it reads. The very end, it reads as if he's supposed to die. I forgot to say. Oh my god! You can see how unscripted these are. The author Yoko Tawada. Hoping I pronounced that right. Haven't done Japanese since year 9 of high school. I don't know what her other works are. I know this was originally written in Japanese and translated to English, and I know there's a couple complications with that translation. I don't want to point them out because I don't know all of them. So don't look at me for that. But I know there are, looking at other reviewers, they have said that there are complications with the translation. Doesn't affect the story or narrative at all. Just a couple things here and there. But they are, if there's anything massive, the author has gone, or at least the translator has gone out of their way to put an asterisk in and correct itself if something is majorly out of order to make the book make sense. I believe that only happens twice, though. I think with Mume, the great grandkid, um, Mume is meant to mean no name, and so it kind of says, like, this means that. So don't get it twisted. This kid technically has no name. That is his name, no name. But, anyway, enough jibber jab and bullshitting around stuff. It's okay. It's alright. I haven't read Yoko's other stuff, so I'm not sure if this book stands out from the rest or if it's standard for her. I don't know. There's a lot of, and again, I'm not an artsy fartsy guy, so but it's like a lot of metaphors that don't mean anything. Like there was like a good chunk, and I mean a good chunk, like a quarter of the book, dedicated to the great granddad cutting up an orange and having to squeeze the juice out of it because Mume couldn't eat it because his teeth were too soft. He couldn't actually eat the orange, so he had to squeeze the juice out, and even then going into the description of how Mume struggled to drink and he would always choke on it. And it was like a battle they had to go through every morning. That's cool. That's really awesome. Like, that's a cool detail about the effects, what's happened, which I'll go into more. What's happened in this world that's caused these children to be afflicted with whatever they have. It takes a quarter of a page, quarter of the book to go through that whole thing. And it's drowned in so much metaphor and just stuff that it doesn't need. Like, I don't need to be drowned in metaphor and be like, oh, the children, like the older generation see the younger as weak and futile and always needing help, and how they have it easy now. They have a guiding hand to help them, and yet they still struggle. I don't need that. No one really needs that. It's something that doesn't need to be pointed out to you. Like, oh, fucking look at that. The younger generation sucks, huh? No one needs that. But I don't know, that's just my opinion, at least. But the characters are alright. Yeah, Yoshino, he's an old, I think he's like 100, I think he starts the book at 105, which isn't an unreasonable age. It's getting up there, but that's not an unreasonable age in our time of life at this point, you know? Oh, jeez. I believe he ends the book like 115 or something. But anyway, old people can't die. They're filled with a youthful vigor that they didn't have beforehand. Now Yoshiro is able to go for a run every day. It's not described if he's good at running or if just does that fucking old man shuffle. You know, the old man shuffle that old people do. It doesn't go into detail, but he's a lot more active than he should be at his age. But it kind of, it's hard to describe the characters because nothing happens. And I say that in a good and bad way. It's almost as if, imagine you have been picked up and dropped into the Fallout universe. And you're just following the life of someone who just lives there. No massive events happen. They're not the savior to save everyone. They're not the chosen one. It's just a random dude living his life. That is, you follow them in that book. There's definitely concepts of a much larger world. It talks about how Tokyo has, due to natural and human-made events, Tokyo has moved further away from the mainland, and the islands have separated a lot more. Tokyo itself is like a contamination zone that no one can live in the center of, so everyone kind of lives around it. Yoshino being described as what was it again? Old elderly. Now you don't really have young people. You have elderly and little kids. So the elderly are now described as young elderly, middle-aged elderly, and old elderly, with old elderly being in the over hundreds, like they're centurions kind of thing, you know. But yeah, it's kind of dropped into this world. But you hear about how food's contaminated, words have changed over time because either because they've gone out of fashion or people have found them offensive. So they've come up with new things like Labor Day has become being alive is enough day, and such like that. Um, it's interesting, but I want to learn more of this world. I don't like that's the one thing I find difficult. That the characters don't change. Uh, Yoshino doesn't change from beginning to end. Mume doesn't change from beginning to end. The characters don't change because most of the book takes place over like 1 or 2 days with time skips or flashbacks in between. Um, but it's just like soil has been contaminated, so they've had to dig out massive canyons of soil and put thick glass sheets over top to act as the pavement so that people could walk across. That's really cool. Like, that's a cool concept, but it's just legit. As fast as I described it, it's gone. And it's never talked about again. Okay. Again, how, like, certain foods aren't grown anymore, or certain foods are only grown in specific parts, and fruit has become this amazing commodity only grown in one part of Japan, and the rest of the world has been isolated. And, like, you cannot talk about any other country in Japan. You can't say anything that isn't central to Japan kind of thing. That's a really interesting world. I really want to be involved more in it. And Yoko just doesn't give us that. She doesn't give that. She gives this tiny slice of life of this one dude and his great grandchild, and it's a very very tiny slice of that. And you don't really get much more of it. Like Yoshino's daughter, I believe, or sorry, no, his grandchild's wife ends up dying, and the husband isn't there, so Yoshino has to go. The great granddad at that point. No, sorry, he'll be granddad. Yeah, granddad. Yoshino as a granddad goes to check up on him and looks at the body, and it's described that she's turning more into a bird. And again, it's just swept. Oh, she has bird-like features. Fucking gone. Gone. There's gone with the wind. That's not described anymore. That's fucked. It's gone. Same as Mume. It's a particular time. At one point, he's described as a kind of bird-like, where he has very thin, unstable legs. His arms kind of like a bird. His head's very big and enlarged. It kind of swings around a lot. And how he struggled, and how his knees bend, fucking, Alan's been like that, his been like that, when he's moving around. So he walks around like a bird, and oftentimes needs a wheelchair. Okay, cool. Fucking gone. It's the book goes over it faster than I described it. I want more of that. I want more of this world that you've built, and you don't give it to me. It's very, I can't remember. I can't think of the word, but it's just very. Gone by the wind is gone, like an angel's kiss. Hey, here's this really cool thing. Gone. Give me more of that, please. Like reading that synopsis, I went into it. Thinking it would be, a cool little post-apocalyptic thing, but it's not sure it's post catastrophe, but it's not post apocalyptic. Like Japan seems to be thriving. The young people are sickly and dying, but Japan is still thriving. Like the old people living life, having a good time. Produce is still a thing. Commodities are still a thing. Because there's no laws or regulations, people can open shops wherever and whenever they want, selling whatever the hell they want. It's very interesting. And when you think about it a little bit, it is a little bit dark, like the reviews on the back. The Last Children of Tokyo is both unsettling and enchanting, gentle and sharp-edged. Tawada writes beautifully about unbearable things. I mean, yeah, but no. I mean, unless Sarah Bourne, fuck, I can't. Unless Sarah Bourne, can look into it more than I do, more than I can. I mean, she's definitely, more esteemed than I am. She's an actual author. I'm not. I'm just a dickhead who likes to read. But unless I'm missing something, I'm not finding much of this book. Yeah. I mean, what can I say? I mean, there's not much to spoil, except for when I spoiled earlier. But there's not much to spoil because not much happens. Like if you're into that kind of book where you're just placed in someone's life, and not much happens, then this is probably a great book for you. People probably love this book. People probably absolutely love this so much. But it was meh. I mean, would I recommend it? Not to my friends because they're not the kind of people who would be into that. One of them might be. But would I recommend it to like a stranger walking past? No, I would not. As soon as I'm done with this and turning back to the library, I'm probably going to forget about it. But yeah, I thought of this rating system I want to do of like every book starts at a 5 out of 10, and then either gains or minuses points based on like characters, story, plot, yada yada yada. Can't really do it on this book because it will become a 0 out of 5 because 0 out of 10 because nothing happens. I don't really want to do that. It's very unfair. So I'm gonna start that rating system on the next one I finish, which will be Dead Silence. Which, oh boy, I can't wait to make the video on that because I realized I did not give all my thoughts on. Fuck, I'm so dumb. Oh my god, the next one I'm doing is on Ghost Station. The last one I did was on Dead Silence. Fucking hell. Anyway, yeah, you get the point. There's a lot of stuff I wanted to say about Dead Silence that I didn't because I don't really I haven't scripted these, so they went to my head at the time. Reading Ghost Station and looking up other reviews of Dead Silence. There's a lot more things I want to say. But in the next episode I'll say it because it makes more sense, not on this one. But anyway, yeah, I know this is really long. If you stayed, thanks, but this is all for me. So yeah. But anyway, if you're here, thanks for watching. If you're not, who cares? Because you're not here anyway. But yeah, okay. Well, I'll catch you later, and stay tuned for when I get around to Ghost Station.